Hey everybody, this is Steve with Brutal Resonance, and today I am here with Vanessa of Ratio Strain, and also the drummer for Waste, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's correct.
All right, cool. Vanessa, how you doing? How's your day going?
Good. It's about 9 in the morning here, so just starting.
So I got you up
Still
early,
in
huh?
pajamas. I'm up this early anyways.
Yeah, I usually get up around like 5, 6 o'clock most days because I work in a warehouse, and we get there. We have to work 8:30 to 5. And I like to get to the gym before I go to work because I feel as if I want to waste more of my energy there than at work. so so I get up.
That is early.
So I get up at 5. I wake myself up though. I do it properly. I drink water. I have my protein shake. I take the dog for a walk, and then I get to the gym, and then I'm there, and then around 8:30 I get to the job, and it's a good time. So I know you're also a fellow gym goer, right?
I am,
What
yeah.
what's your favorite type of workouts to do? Are you more of a weightlifter, cardio, strongman?
I hate cardio.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Hmm.
So I love weightlifting. I actually go to three gyms. Well, I was going to three gyms.
Jesus.
I've taken a break. Yeah. Um, because I did the Tough Mudder in August. So
Okay.
I was training for that and going to three different gyms. I was going to, CrossFit. I really
Hmm.
like that. Then just a regular, like 24-hour fitness kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then I was going to a specific gym specifically for um, doing the Tough Mudders. They have an obstacle course and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I was doing that pretty every Saturday, 8 in the morning kind of thing. So
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I've only ever had one gym membership at a time. I was going to the
yeah.
YMCA in my town, but their dumbbells only went up to 75 pounds. So, those got, I'm not trying to brag or boast, but those got light for me for certain exercises. So
Right.
I had to
Yeah.
look for a new gym, and now I'm over at a Anytime Fitness, and I love it there because they cater to everybody. If you're new to the gym, if you're experienced, whatever. But their dumbbells go up to 100 pounds. I'm like, that's good. That's what I need. That's all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I like barbell a lot.
yeah.
Barbell is my favorite.
What's your favorite barbell
Still working.
exercise?
Well, I'm still working on form and everything.
Okay.
I like RDLs.
I just started those the
Um,
other week, actually.
yeah.
Romanians. Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
talking to one guy at the gym, and I was like, man, I just started these. And he said, do them right after your deadlift because that way you're not, the deadlift basically warms you up for the RDL. Um,
Right.
so I do my deadlifts first, and then I move on to the RDLs on an elevated platform. That way I don't have to deadlift it up just to start the lift. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I remember the first or the second week that I did them, I went heavier in weight, and my ass and my hammies were sore as fuck the following day. And so I do legs twice a week. I do legs on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I do my heavy compound movements on Fridays. The day after, I have martial arts. So I was at martial arts, and I'm stretching as best I can before class begins as a warm up, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be sore as hell. Everything hurts right now.
Yeah. There
So
does come a point though where after you work out for so long, you're just not sore
yeah.
anymore. Your body is just used to it. So when I
Hmm.
did the Tough Mudder, I did it with my brother,
Hmm.
and he's a mountain climber. He does climbing and all
Oof.
this kind of crazy stuff. So I thought he's gonna be so much better than I.
Hmm.
But the next day, he was the one who was sore. So it was like awesome. I was fine. But it was a great pairing because he's a rock climber. He got to pick my butt up,
Yeah.
because I couldn't. Some of the walls were 6 foot and
Yeah.
I couldn't get over them.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I felt great that the next day I wasn't sore. That was my kind of like, yeah, I'm tough.
Yeah, no, I usually what I try to do is if I'm not getting sore for a while after a workout, I try to make it more intense in one way or the other. Um,
Yeah.
for example,
Well, Tough Mudder is
yeah,
pretty intense.
that's true. But one of the things I was doing was last week, for example, when I was squatting, I was just I like to sometimes go up in weight with squats. I just keep going until I hit my one or my 2 rep max. 'Cause I don't like doing single rep max
Yeah.
because at that point
Yeah.
you're just destroying your body. But this last week I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna slap 135 on the bar. Just 45 in each, and just see how many reps I can possibly do. You know, And on my first set, I was got up to like 30 reps, and as soon as I hit 30, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I think I could have went for like 35 maybe, but my body was shaking at that point. I was like, I got to put this down.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, don't push it.
yeah, but it did work because my body was sore as hell the following day, and I was quite proud of myself over that. Um, we tried
It's
that. Go ahead.
there's something about pain, you know, some the work. It's funny because when I was younger, I thought, oh, going to the gym, why would anybody pay to sweat and be in pain and be
Hmm.
miserable? And now I'm that person,
Yeah,
you know, and it's such a rush. It's so fun to just torture your body.
absolutely. Yeah, like I had a gym buddy for a while, and he still sometimes goes with me. But we would just try random things that we saw on the internet just to challenge ourselves, right? And there was this one thing that we saw where it was like a leg press workout, but what you did is you started like not necessarily at your max weight on the leg press, but somewhere like in a middle weight. So for me,
Okay.
that was like 7 plates on each side. I'm really good at the leg press, and so that's where I started. And you do 10 reps at 7 plates. You don't let it down, but your partner takes a plate off on each side, and then you do another
Mhm.
10 reps. So you go from 7 plates to 6 plates to 5 plates to 4 plates until you get to the base. Each time they drop a plate, you got to do 10 reps, right? So at the end of that workout, we did 80 reps altogether each, and it was painful and it was torture. And when you got to the base, because it was basically a drop set, the base is only like 100 pounds. Uh, we were leg pressing so slowly and so painfully. We had to take a break in between each set. I thought I was going to collapse, but it sucked. So, but uh, anyway, let's talk about a little bit about your career here. Uh,
Yeah.
you started as a I think Ratio Strain came after Waste, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, waste has been around a long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I remember which one was it? Was it Warlord Mentality that I reviewed on the site? I think so. That was a while ago though, but I
Yeah,
thought
that's an older one.
yeah, but that's my favorite album from Waste. I still love it. I actually, speaking of the gym, it's actually one of my go-to workouts. Uh, just
Oh, that's
albums in
awesome.
general. Um, but where did Ratio Strain come from? Did you want to like break away from Waste and like do your own thing, or was it a different sort of idea?
Yeah, I so it came from every time I would play a show, you know, with waste and everything. Um, I realized that I was often the only girl and certainly the only female drummer, you know, in the
Mm-hmm.
scene. And I think I was at Mechanismus, and I was literally the only girl. It was sound check. I'm the only female, and I'm seeing all my friends up there, other bands and stuff. And it was actually Jamie from ESA. He was just jokingly, he goes, "Why don't you do that? You could, you know, you could do it." I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm just the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to do any of that." But then I started thinking about it and going, you know, maybe I can do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I started making, you know, my first crappy song
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of took off from there. But the whole purpose was me just playing shows and seeing that there isn't a large female presence,
Mm-hmm.
especially with, you know, noise in that genre. And I really just wanted to have a female presence there.
Gotcha.
So that's really what it came from, is just me kind of kind of doing it as a, let's see if I can do it, and then wanting that, you know, that female presence. And after my first crappy song, I just kept going. So
Gotcha. Yeah, that has been a continued debate within the underground electronic scene is how few, what do we call it, women are involved in the scene. Um, but I don't know. Kind of feel as if that's been changing in the past. Like I want to
Oh
say,
yeah.
even the past 5 years, there's been a huge change, especially stateside. I want to say in the United States. Like went to the unconvention last year, right?
Hmm.
And even though it's a male dominated scene, I want to say that the audience was half and half. There was a lot of guys, there's a lot of girls there on both sides, and we had I want to say an equal amount of, well, maybe not an equal, but a better share of male versus female performers at the festival. Eva X was there. We had this one band from Jersey called Destruct Principle, which is like a good combination of men and women, and it was just a good time, and you could kind of see that happening more and more.
Yeah, it's definitely changing, and I am seeing, like you said, the past 5 years has changed. But previously, I wouldn't see any. I'd see maybe a singer, right? A female
Hmm.
singer kind of thing. And so that's also kind of where it came from is whenever I'd be backstage or something, sometimes it would be, oh, are you the singer? Are you the keyboard player? And they're always surprised to see a female drummer, of course.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, darn, like, there's just this stigma. Women are singers or keyboardists and nothing else in between. And so being a female drummer is, already kind of like, ooh, people go crazy over that.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know of or see any actual female producers. And now I'm seeing so much more, and I'm so excited to see that because there's going to be younger generation out there, and we want to set a good example for that. I don't know if I'm the best example with, with my music, but it's good to see that shift and that change there. And um, it's interesting because I never thought of myself as being this like advocate for for women. I'm kind of an easygoing person, but I'm finding myself more like, oh, we need more females in the scene, we need more of this, and really advocating for that.
Yeah, and it's like, and the thing too is just like, you say advocate, but I don't really think like what do you call that? It's something to be really ashamed of either. It's just like it's a broad statement. It's something that should be
Right.
said. And if it wasn't an issue, then it wouldn't be discussed all the time. Um,
Right. Yeah.
a lot of European festivals from what I've seen, and again, that's been a subject that's been brought up on Sounds and Shadows, the giant industrial goth community. It's been brought up on Brutal Resonance as well. Those festivals, they tend to just feature the same bands year in, year out. And I get that you want the crowd there, but in order to build up your community, you should also start bringing in the fresh talent, fresh blood.
Right.
And they just don't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, that's a big conversation too.
yeah.
That's kind of something that I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
In the static zine is the thought of gatekeeping and how we kind of see that with the bands and everything, and it's such an interesting Pandora's box
Oh,
to
absolutely.
open because there's so many variables there. There's the promoter that wants to obviously make money and have people
Hmm.
come, and then there's us who want fresh and new music, and then there's bigger bands that kind of like take a lot of the pot, and how do smaller bands interject in that? It's really difficult because a lot of it is building rapport with the scene, but also having that following. And
Hmm.
it's something I struggle with, but also I don't, because I don't really care. I'm happy with 5 people liking my
Yeah.
music. I've always said that. I'm not aiming to get super big or anything, but um yeah, it's interesting to hear the talk about wanting different bands,
Hmm.
but then it just never happens,
Yeah.
and then even where I'm in San Diego, people don't go to smaller shows. They go to the big stuff.
Yeah.
So as much as people complain about it, they're not going to the shows to support the smaller acts and the bands.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's really circular.
Absolutely. And it's like, I can't really speak for that end. It's because I'm a big introvert, so I'll go to maybe one show every year, and that's it. But I do find it interesting that I want bands, like smaller bands, to appear at shows, and then it's like hypocritical though, because it's just like, yeah, I want to see you go there, but I probably won't be there because
Right.
I
Yeah.
hate driving at night. I get tired. I get cranky. And most industrial shows are at like 10 to 1 in the morning, and I'm just like, I can't do that. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I'm gonna fall asleep in
Yeah,
my
you got to
car.
go to the gym.
Yeah, so I've always advocated, give me like a 5 o'clock show on a Sunday and I'll go. Yeah. Which actually happened like once, I think, and Youth Code was playing over in Philly, I forget which venue it was, but it was like a 6 o'clock show, and I was like, "Holy shit, I can go to this!" So I went and I had fun, and then I went home and I was like, "This is great." You know, it was like I got home around 10, 11 o'clock. I was like, "I could go to sleep. I could get up on time. I'll be all right." So
I like the sound of that.
yeah, but like as I said, it is an issue that I'm glad it's being talked about. To be honest, I don't know really what the solution is. I know some festivals are doing a solution where yeah they'll bring in the big talent, but they'll also bring in all the small talent and save the big talent for the end instead of coming at the beginning. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so, which somewhat works and somewhat doesn't because it's just like when everybody is just kind of like walking around. For example, when I was at the Unconvention, of course everybody showed up in the room when Grendel was playing, right? Grendel was
Hmm.
there. Everybody showed up for them. And in between, when all the smaller bands were coming up, people still came in and out and people were selling their merch and so on and so forth. And it was just a good time. So I think that's a great way to do it too, is just have those festivals.
Right.
But don't have the big bands like don't have multiple stages where the big bands are playing at the same time the smaller ones are because
Right.
everybody's going to flock there. So
Yeah, you shouldn't have to compete.
exactly, it's no bueno when that happens. um but anyway, moving on here, let's talk a bit more about Ratio Strain because you have a new single out called Liminal. uh
Hmm.
Tell me what that one's about. I know that you're seeing it's all about. Well, not all about, but you said you released it in time for the spooky season, obviously. And I listened
Right.
to it,
Yeah.
and the rough beats definitely fit in with the Halloween season. I could see it at a Halloween rave or something. But what is it? What does it mean to you?
So I actually made this song in preparation for a show that I'm doing on the 20th, locally here in San Diego. There is this amazing woman who she's in her 20s. Her name's Vanna Vicious, and she's a promoter. She started her own club called Club Obsession, and she asked me to perform at it. And the theme is Hellraiser. So I thought, let
Ooh.
me make a song for it. And the reason being, too, is because I have so much respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
She's, in her 20s. She has her own go go dance troupe. She started this club. She's super active, in the community here, and she's trying to bring just more inclusion in everything, and I have so much respect because I was not doing that in my 20s. I
Yeah,
was I was
absolutely.
slacking off in my 20s. And so to see this younger generation with so much, love for this scene and wanting to bring more to the table, I had to do something for it. So I thought, okay, let's do something fun and do a fun Hellraiser song. And I was like, okay, well, Suicide Commando has their Hellraiser song. So
Yeah.
let me make something fun. And, the latest Hellraiser movie, the Pinhead is very female presenting. So I thought, oh, this is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. It just kind of all meshed together. And what I didn't know, apparently, is that the actress is from San Diego too. So it's really uncanny that it kind of worked out the way that it did. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I wanted to make something, fun, spooky that would go with a theme, but also something that would be, maybe a little bit more club playable, something dark.
Yeah.
I love my samples. So yeah, more in line with that.
Gotcha. I see now. I understand the cover art a lot more because like the whole like the chains and leather. Although that's huge in the industrial scene, the style that you put on
Right.
there, it's very Pinhead esque. And I'm not sure, but is that the mask on your synth behind you?
Yeah, it is. So this is the mask that I wear. I'll make people see. I can't reach it almost, but yeah, I have two of them. Yeah, this is what I actually wear on stage. So, regardless of the Hellraiser theme, this is my mask that I wear, that
Gotcha.
I started wearing,
It's a good security
which is,
part too because if you headbutt somebody with that, they're going down.
yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, I thought the reason I did the mask is because I wanted to take away kind of from the fact that I'm female. I didn't want to like commodify myself or objectify myself, which is funny
Hmm.
because the cover art for Liminal is very, but I'm kind of doing that on purpose.
Hmm.
Um, I wanted to do the mask so it would be more about the music and less about the fact that, oh, here's a female, upfront making music, because it's very easy for a woman to go up there and, be a woman. And I wanted the music to be more of the experience,
Hmm.
kind of like, when you go to a Tool show and they're all blacked out, that's what I would prefer. I would prefer the music to be the experience. I don't need all the emphasis on me. So I thought, okay, I'll do this mask and it'll be super cool. And then
Hmm.
I started doing it and I'm like, "Ah, man, it's dark. It's hard to see." So,
Yeah.
but I love it so much. And, sometimes I will wear, very, like sexual clothing and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But that's part of it for me, is to kind of explore, I guess, the music and my sexuality and
Yeah.
everything, and kind of be this spooky, weird, witchy presence, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just had that discussion on Brutal Resonance recently on a Facebook post about like, objectifying women in the industrial scene and stuff like that. And I always say, there's nothing wrong with finding someone attractive in the industrial slash goth scene. Like I'm married, but me and my wife,
Yeah.
if we see someone who's attractive, like she thinks Jason Momoa is attractive, for example,
Oh,
and
of
it's like
course, every woman
everybody
does.
does, and it's like, yeah, that's cool. And it's just like for me, it's just like when I look at Margot Robbie, I'm like, yeah, she's beautiful. Um,
Right.
but I'm not gonna go walking around posting tits and ass all over the place and like being like, look at these. This is the main draw here. So I don't get it. But I always say that it's good when it's artsy, when it's in an artistic style, and the cover art for Liminal and that outfit, it's actually really nicely done. It's the color scheme and everything. It does remind me of like an older horror movie, maybe from like the mid '90s when they were trying to like go for that sort of color
Yeah.
grade. So I think it works. But exploring one's sexuality has been part of the industrial scene since like I think its roots. You just
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
you just gotta look at Throbbing Gristle, and there you go. you know? So, okay, you mentioned the show that you're going to. Oh, I just noticed that the mastering for that single was done by Seraphim System. That makes a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sense. He's
Yeah.
actually a pretty damn good producer.
Oh,
Moving on.
yeah. And quick.
Yeah. So, you mentioned the show that you're performing at. Where is it being held? Which venue? Uh,
So it's here in San Diego.
okay,
Yeah. A place called Queen Bee's. So it's, I don't know, just a local space here. Yeah.
gotcha. And where can we find out more information about the event?
That would be, so she's typically on Instagram is the best place to go.
Gotcha.
So you just look for a Club Obsession and she's all over
Okay, cool.
Instagram.
Club Assumption. I'll have to link that in the comments for anybody who's interested in going and try to find the venue. You can send me that after the words though.
Yeah.
um, And what else is going on in the world of Ratio Strain? Like you got the new single out. There's some older material out there. I saw you had some B-sides out. You have your debut album, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
What's the future holding? Is Liminal going to be a part of like a full-length album, or are you taking like the single route, like a lot of musicians are doing nowadays?
Yeah, so for that one, I'm just gonna leave it as a single,
Okay,
just one off. I don't know, maybe I'll do some remixes or something with it and get fun. But I actually have quite a few remixes that I've done, some collaborations in the mix, and usually this time of year is when I actually have the time to write music. So I'll probably start my writing process and write stuff for next year. So that's kind of where I am right now. I have some shows I think lined up for next year that I can't talk about yet that I'm super excited about. But yeah, it's been mainly collaborations that I've been doing some remixes. So I did one for Seraphim System, I did
cool.
one for Solve. Um, who else? I feel like I'm missing somebody somewhere. I'm gonna do. I can talk about one. I got some vocals from Grab Your Face, so I'm gonna be doing some collab with her.
Okay,
Pretty
that's cool.
excited about that.
I like Grab Your
Yeah,
Face. She's pretty good.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's what I have going on right now. Hopefully, I'm gonna make um, some more stuff like Liminal. I think I'm gonna go. It's kind of evolving. The music's evolving, so I think I'm just gonna go with where I'm at right now.
Oh, absolutely. Like I noticed the difference in quality from Liminal to the debut you had a few years back, and it's incredible to be honest. You know, like
Oh,
the
thanks.
the amount of how you matured basically in your journey.
Yeah,
So
that first album, what did I name that? Century of the Cell for Slumber. Some I can't even remember what I named it. That one I was just excited to put something out. That was I made some songs. I was super excited to put it out. Um, One of them, Objectify, was the first song that I made,
hmm
but then I reworked it and I love that song. It's so filthy. I always play that one every show because
you don't get tired of
people
it.
always, yeah, I don't get tired of the samples and people's faces when they hear like porn samples coming from a woman. um, so yeah, I love that. But it was very, yeah, very raw, and it was very at that time like I'm gonna make noise and it's gonna be cool, you know. And then
Yeah.
I've kind of evolved, and the B side of life was more also older. I made those during lockdown, during COVID, and then
Okay.
I kind of reworked them and put them out. So yeah, it's definitely evolved. And you know, like Liminal. I've been listening to actually a lot more. I'm in love with Fever Ray, for example. I've been listening to a lot of like cleaner stuff, and I think it's had a really positive effect on the way that I'm approaching, you know, my kind of dancey, noisy style.
Yeah. I would say that like for like the dancey, noisy stuff, ESA is a perfect example of that, where it's a nice blend of the. You know, I know you mentioned Jamie Black earlier, but I think he has a very nice blend of the crunchy, like rhythmic noise beats, and like the more techno influences, like the cleaner beats, as you were saying. So
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely a big influence for me. And he's been a big help for me. He's a good friend of mine.
mhm.
Him and Scott Fox, I send them my music all the time to get feedback. And I definitely use their stuff as kind of a roadmap for how I want to do things. But yeah, he's on another level. Actually, Scott is too. Scott's brain is crazy. So I don't know if I could write like him, but I definitely look up to them in their style.
Gotcha. All right, let's do a little shameless self promotion here. Vanessa and I were both part of Static, so we're gonna show that off real quick.
Yeah.
Um, this is a magazine about the industrial scene and its culture. It's formed by Rex Arcana, and he has a lot of people involved, including myself and Vanessa were writers. And you had a feature in which you had a big feature in one of them, right?
Both
What?
of them.
Both of
Yeah.
them so
It's
far.
reoccurring. Yeah.
Okay, which one? What did you write so far for it?
So I do the cutting edge is what it's called. The cutting edge with Vanessa
Ooh.
Saw. That's my that's what he's like, oh, he tried to ask me if I had an idea for a name. Like, no, I don't. He's like, the cutting edge. I'm like, sure, fine, great, whatever. I don't
Yeah,
have to think
got it
about
right here.
it.
The cutting
Yeah,
edge.
that's me. Yep.
So, and what do you normally talk about in the cutting edge? Is it anything uh, thematic, or is it just a different topic each time?
Yeah. So it's been reoccurring and it's been thematic. It's been the first one was about gatekeeping. So
Mm-hmm.
just what I've been doing is putting out a survey. I put out a survey for people to take on their perception. And it was for anyone,
Mm-hmm.
listeners, DJs, bands, whatever, on their perception of do they feel like there's gatekeeping in this scene? Because so many people talk about it, so many people complain about it, but nobody does anything about it. That's
Yeah.
kind of my experience with it is no one calls people out. No one's honest. They're just kind of like, oh, this person gatekeeps, or I feel like this person's a gatekeeper. So I did an anonymous survey and got a lot of dirt, which was really cool. Not, naming any names or anything, but just a lot of people giving their honest opinion on what they felt like the scene was. And I got responses from the UK. I got responses, here from the States, even from South America. I got quite a few, and just compiled it together to kind of put everyone's perception, not my perception, but everybody's voice, because I wanted it to be everybody's voice. I mean,
Yeah.
my opinion is mine, and I thought who cares about my opinion, right? Let's talk about everyone's collective opinion. So that was the first edition. And then the second one is about musicians and their perception of gatekeeping and their experiences with playing shows, trying to get booked in a city, promoters, just anything and everything, how difficult it can be. So it's been really fun and really interesting because it's other people's voices.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one I'm going to do is actually going to be interviewers and reviewers' perceptions of gatekeeping and just their experience with bands.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for bands, it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, this reviewer only takes big bands or does this and that. But what about the perception of that reviewer who, we write, we're not getting paid to write for Statik. It's out of the love of something.
Mm-hmm.
So really looking at both sides and seeing what's the truth behind it. And so far, I'm kind of finding it's not necessarily gatekeeping so much as bad communication
Mm-hmm.
or just, lack of professional skills in some senses.
Yeah.
So it's been fun social experiment.
Yeah, I'll hold my opinion on that until the poll comes to me. Um, but yeah, the only issue I've had with Static so far is that I write too much. So I did the choke chain piece in issue 2, and when I first submitted it, I was like, "Here you go, Rex," and he had to like cut it down by like I want to say 200 to 300 words, and I was just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." So and even then like the reviews that we do on the in the magazine, they got to be small, right? So he's like 250 to
Right. Yeah.
300 words per review, and I'm used to doing like the longer form stuff, but I'm starting to paraphrase and cut it down ever so slightly here and there. I'm trying to do a thing
Yeah.
where I'm just like, here's a song that really sucked, here's a song that was really good, here's my overall opinion.
Yeah.
Quick examples. So
Right. Yeah.
um
Yeah. It is hard to get everything in one. And that's why I was going to be a one off piece for me.
mhm,
But since there's so much to cover and I realized, oh, I really opened Pandora's box with this, I
yeah.
figured I'll just kind of keep it going. I have no idea what people think of it. I haven't gotten any feedback, positive or negative. So I was like, okay, well, I guess it's good. I guess people are reading it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the
It's
pieces
fun.
that I read. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll link the site. You can find these magazines on Etsy. I'll link that into the description below. And Rex, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think we covered enough in this interview. We got a lot going off on Ratio Strain. I'll get some links in the comments, or not the comments, in the description below for that, especially to this new single Liminal, available on Spotify and Bandcamp, and all of that, I assume, right?
Yeah.
So
I haven't put it on Spotify yet, but I probably will this week.
yeah, I heard it's a
I
pain in the
was
butt,
holding
but
out. Yeah.
so all right, Vanessa, thank you for your time, and to the audience out there, I thank you again for tuning in to the Brood Residence podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.